is a little bit savvy to how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
Like their last name, Brunson, is an anagram for bird son. It's tied to the Scottish Rite and it's tied to the Daughters of Scotland.
Mm.
And
Mm.
remember, the mama's boys only come out to get mama shit. They're not coming for nothing else. They don't want personal gain.
Right.
They just want mama's stuff to be returned. In this case, they using the burn sons, the ones who
Mm.
get burned in the sun with the fiery red hair.
Mm. Celtics, Druids. You know
So
what I'm saying?
it's spiritually it's strategic, and it's also strategic in the legal sense of the word because it's putting the system in the position to expose the nature of the fraud they operate under, and all of the people are complicit in operating under the fraud for the personal gain that they were seeking. Very few of them is in these positions to help people. Most of them in there to help themselves.
Mm.
And that's why they can be bought and sold,
Mm.
picked and traded.
So this goes into this.
ALJs, administrative law judges, they not Article
Mm-hmm.
3 judges.
Facts.
Right now, they're operating as the term in law is called admiralty adjunct court. An adjunct court is like an offshoot of another court.
Mm.
So when you get charged criminally in state court and you get there with your state Supreme Court appeal and you have to go into the federal court, it's not criminal any longer. Soon as you enter into the domain of the federal court, it becomes legislative, it becomes civil action.
Mm-hmm.
Now, under the rules of court in Michigan, you're not supposed to hold a person in prison for a civil penalty, right? So federally, they holding people in prison for a civil penalty, but they reclassify him in the admiralty jurisdiction as criminal.
That's because of the 14th Amendment, which is a fraudulent contract that wasn't ratified.
Right.
So
No, but not only that, the 14th Amendment is to take, okay, so the 13th Amendment was to take the privacy of ownership of people from people, right? Because slavery started off as private ownership, sole proprietorship, right? The 13th Amendment banned that. The 14th Amendment and turned around and said, okay, you can't do it as an individual, but as the state, we can do it. So we're going to use what we call the criminal justice system, and we're going to put everybody in timeout for how long we need them. And if you look at the sentencing has gradually increased over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where people used to go in for a manslaughter, do 3 to 5 years and come home. Now they're in there for 40, 50 years. You're not in there for the murder though. This is what you in there. It's a whole
labor.
You in there for violating cattle rustling codes.
What's that?
And if you go to southern states, cattle rustlers can be killed on sight. Somebody that steals somebody else's cattle, you can kill them on sight.
Right.
Right. Now, the cattle rustlers is you poaching somebody else's farm stock animals.
Mm-hmm.
You poaching. So if you kill somebody, you killing the chattel, not the cattle. Right? So they charge you the value of the chattel out of it's a Levitical law.
Why? So this is how they implemented United States citizenship. So that means that you're a municipal slave to the system, which makes you chattel slavery. Correct?
Right. Now, remember, an emancipation is to transfer from one jurisdiction to another. Most people don't know that. A proclamation is a public statement of something. So the Emancipation Proclamation was Abraham Lincoln proclaiming that we had to take the private slave system out and put a public slave system in its place so that the individual can determine who's going to be the slave. The government now holds the responsibility through the judiciaries commissioned by King George to determine who is the outlaws on the land. Because remember, all of the tribes that refuse to do treaty agreements is called outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
The leaders are the ones that they levy the lien against. Levy is Levi. The code that they use. The lien is the anagram for Enlil. So Enlil levy the lien in order to capture you as the whole man and hold you in reprisal for the straw man.
And that's draconian law right there.
Yeah, it's sleight of hand too. It's a bait and switch.
Right.
Because they let you use the straw man all the way up in until it's time for them to reclaim it. Then they capture you along with the straw man. Right? So if you go and watch Marlon Perkins or any of the wildlife shows, Mutual Omaha, Wild Kingdom, the animal shows, they catch the animal and then they tag their ear. And then they strap them with a tracker in order to study them. Well, when you born, they don't tag your ear, they stamp your feet to a piece of paper called a bond.
Facts.
The bond is the verification of ownership, the same as the pedigree papers for a dog. Now, you can use the pedigree papers to follow the bloodline to the origin of the pedigree, meaning when they first start getting birth certificates.
Right.
Right? That means they first start quantifying the blood quantum through following and tracking of the bloodlines through the certification of the births. Right? This is when they start making.
So it's data.
Yeah.
It's another way to track data, basically.
Tracking system, yeah. Old school tracking versus new school. Now they can do it all with a computer, but back then they had to do it manually.
Right.
So they sent people out that they call census takers. Right? Because they was trying to figure out how to steal your census. So you no longer are self-aware. They have to capture you as a straw man. So we mosey on down the yellow brick road. Right? They ain't worried about you attacking them because you've been domesticated, so they calling you a cowardly lion.
Wow.
But he wasn't really a coward. He just didn't know who he was. Because when it came time to stand up and show courage, he didn't back down. But it wasn't until they found out the wizard was a fraud that the lion knew he was a goddamn lion. The tax man, the tin man, knew he was just a number to identify taxes, and that if he didn't get no oil, greasy palms, that he couldn't move and operate successfully. But when they added it all up, we thought it was a big Saint Bernard, but it turned out to be a little old Toto.
Exactly. And that's the motherfucking corporation right there.
Yeah.
Like you said, all it takes is motherfuckers just walk away from the job. You collapse the whole system in totality right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because every time you clock in per diem per day, somebody getting paid on Wall Street, you stop going to work, it'll shut this shit down. Even though it's in full circle, but it'll go quickly if people just look at it, from that standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So
see, we still getting our senses back.
Right.
From them taking our census with their census report that reclassified us. So now we getting our sense of self back. You can see the change in the algorithm over the last 3 or 4 years.
Facts.
The hottest topic on the internet right now is motherfucker, we know who he is.
Facts.
And anybody can get it. A dirty Moor, a $5 Indian, a $2.50 Indian, a pretendian, A motherfucker telling us we ain't who we is, and then all of them can get it. We not taking no hostages and no prisoners in this fight.
Facts.
The babies got it now. Be there. That's
Facts.
what I'm telling you. The babies got it now. That we ain't got to worry about. Because the babies ain't, they are insatiable when they get on the topic and they want the answer. You gonna give them the right answer and they gonna question you until you do.
Facts. And that's why, like I said, man, and you can just see the shift in energy by way of mindset because, like, even though it's kind of like a trend going on, you got the quarter zips and everything, but you can see the transition in itself because they're doing a lot more things that have a lot more self-affirming practices. So that means that they're, uh, confirming themselves to more, stuff that have substance. So it's like one of those things where you see in a shift of energy. So you can see it taking place right now in real time, man. So
Yeah.
you on
So
point
we
with
talking.
that.
You can see the 100 monkey effect because I can find you 100 content creators, and all of them is different, and they all telling you the same thing from a different angle.
Facts.
You got
That's a fact.
tarot card readers pulling cards on this shit. You got astrologers on here doing astrological readings on this. I mean, everybody's involved in it. You got people that's in Hollywood trying to figure out how can they write movies based on this shit now,
That's a fact. That's
right?
a
They
fact.
got to come out with it. It's like it's getting too hot. We can't keep ignoring it. So they keep giving us the coded movies, the ones where we superheroes, telling us we got superpowers, and then they call them comics. Your
Exactly.
DC universe, your Marvel universe, your DC universe is District of Columbia, which deals with the tribes that was in the land already.
Mm,
Because
mm.
that's where they still there. If you go to DC to the hood, you're gonna see us still there. They couldn't make a move.
Facts.
So what did they do? All they can do is redline them
Yep.
because that's all they contract allowed them to do. It's called salvage rights, eminent domain under the um the shipwreck. But we
And
didn't
you
land
did.
on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
And they also they showing you like you was basically demonstrating. They showing you in real time in the movies on the last episode of the Dairy. They showing the so called blacks, basically getting edification as far as like what to do with spiritual judgment and things of that nature because they found like this horn and the horn was the basically lock away the entity it that was basically feeding off the life force of the children, but as far as like they showing you in real time of the connection of indigenous culture and so-called black people, but they put it in the form of entertainment. So there's an algorithm that's taking place at hand. So
Okay,
that's why I
now,
keep telling people it's the children and the indigenous stuff. That's the algorithm.
so they trying to villainize the clown first of all, because that's the Hayoka.
Mm,
That's the high priest that they call crazy because he live in the dirt by itself in the middle of nowhere, right?
mm,
And they make up all of these horror stories so people won't go sit at the feet of the master and get the jewels
right,
to keep them away with a barrier of fear. Only the fearless is going to brave the course to go find out if he's really crazy or not.
right.
But they normally stay to become disciples, so they never return, and people assume that they dead and gone. So that add to the mystique of the horror story. But when you get down there to the village, they are there. They've become the village now.
Mm,
Around the old man of the forest. They call him Pan,
mm.
right? And Peter Pan means Father Pan,
Yep.
right? Because Peter is Potter and Potter is Father. Okay, now in the Peter Pan, you stay youthful because you live with an alchemist
Mm.
who understands that by living off the fat of the land, you can prolong your life rather than eating the industrial pharmakia, the
Are you?
sorcerer's food.
I think you echoing a little bit. Is that your phone? The bottom of your phone?
No, it might be my dog whimpering down there.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, it's your
He,
dog.
he,
Cause that
he
sound
actually,
like something.
yeah, he actually sleep down there having a dream, and I guess he might be in the whole dog fight in his dream because he getting it
Mm,
in.
that's a fact. Yeah, the ether's been acting up, man. There's a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, taking place on a metaphysical standpoint. And then they talking about Three Eye Atlas can be closest to Earth during the time of December 19th. Kind of like during the time right before you had the winter solstice, because there's a lot of shit going on. And they also extrapolate the indigenous culture in the Avatar movie to you, which also shows you the ancient elf symbol that they put over the geographical landmass of America. So the symbolism, uh, the codex is, you know, everything is basically lining up. You know, that's what's basically taking place in real time, because the theme of the movie is fire and ash, which is also a redemption process by way of resurrection. So go ahead.
You know that the Avatar movies is the Sumerian tablets translated into movies.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
unobtainium is the gold, right? And then they learn how to put on the avatars to blend in with the native,
Mm-hmm.
right? All that's straight out of the Sumerian tablets. How they
Mm.
made the avatar, how they jump bodies from the avatar,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when we see it, we seeing the avatar because they drawing them as blue people. We don't even understand that we used to be blue.
Facts.
So we ain't blue no more because our base metals has changed.
Mm-hmm.
The base metal when we was blue was magnesium, copper synthesis, and now it's iron and copper synthesis, which gives you
Mm-hmm.
the shades of wheat,
Mm-hmm.
all the shades of wheat, from white wheat to chocolate brown wheat, and
Mm-hmm.
everything in the middle, right? So if we go into crystalline next time, so we already went from alkaline organic, the same as the plant's blood look like chlorophyll,
Mm-hmm.
right? To red blood, carbon base. Now we go into crystalline base, right? Which brings in all of your metaphysical capabilities as soon as you can interface with the crystals. And the
Mm-hmm.
crystals make up the Earth's grid,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So it's like laying the Epcot Center model over the Earth. Each point on the Epcot Center as an Earth globe would be a point of a node of crystal
Mm.
that would be projecting out. These crystals is called DNA.
Mm-hmm.
The master crystal is one who is the governess of the mitochondria, the powerhouse to the cell, which takes you back to your matriarchal rulership rights, which is the right to tend to the land and the children in the face of all opposition. The men supposed to protect that and enforce it. Whereas now we under patriarchal rule, transitioning back to matriarchal. Under patriarchy, it's every man for himself. The strongest survive, the fittest of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
What they call the law of evolution, right? So everybody is bucking for a position, but everybody not gonna be at the top.
Fact.
Everybody ain't the same. Though y'all might look similar, we not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us made out of that shit you can't teach, right?
Yeah.
And some of us learn how to teach that shit that you have to make,
Mm.
right? So when you realize the difference that everybody not the same, that helps you to accept the differences in order to accept the similarities,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's what's called developing emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
right? As you develop the emotional intelligence, it develops a sense of empathy, but it also suspends the careless sympathy, right? Because everything that look tragic is not a tragedy, and everything that's don't look tragic might be a total tragedy.
Right.
Everything ain't always what it seems on the surface, And sometimes you got to look at it from somebody else's perspective, yes, in order to get a holistic view of it. Panoramic.
Mm. Mm. But yeah, like you said, a lot of people's abilities is starting to come online because going back to what you said, the oxidation levels on the planet has started to be eradicated because we going back into an omnicron based atmosphere, and what that does is the body in itself is photovoltaic and it has the ability to convert gamma radiation into bioelectricity. So what that does is like it's going to connect you to the mycelium network of nature. It's kind of like the same shit of when you watch or play the video game Super Mario. He eat the motherfucking mushroom. He connects himself right back to nature, and that's when you tap into the oversoul, which is your higher self, which is also known as the Zohar, to where you combat the energy of the gematria body that connects you to your straw man and your corporation. So that's why I said, just from my own independent research, Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, a Scottish Rite, 33rd degree Mason, playing both sides, he has to cause the reset. It's one of those things where he has to play both sides. But,
Yeah,
by way of
that's the
universal law,
double-headed eagle. Scottish Rite, two-headed eagle.
facts,
Playing both
facts,
sides from the middle, left wing, right wing. Started off as a Democrat, but he flying as a Republican.
facts. Set
It's all
tripping.
there. It's all there.
Set tripping.
It's all there. He learned how
Hey,
to play. He learned how to play the bad guy from Vince McMahon.
if you really think about it, he's really like a political Takashi 6ix9ine. If you really think about it, because Takashi, he started off as a Crip and he blooding. And the 6 and the 9 is a mirror flip for the resurrection process for the fall of the lunar world, as you have the resurrection of the sun, the
It's
rise of the
also
matriarch. So it's
69
6
in
and the 9.
balance.
Yeah, facts. So
Now,
yin and
as
yang.
above, so
So
below.
yeah. So that's why I said, Donald Trump, he's playing both sides because when you look at the processional circle, you cannot have a a demonstrative government during the time of the sun cycle. That's kind of like breaking universal law because they can't coexist.
He's
So a sun
Gemini
cycle,
flipping.
yeah, he's what?
Gemini flipping.
What you mean by that?
The Gemini is the twin pillars in masonry.
Right.
Joaquin and Boaz, severity and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
He's showing mercy to the people that he's supposed to, and he's showing severity to the people he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually what you call standing on the straight bump, which is center of the pillars, which is also called the Christ position,
Facts.
which is you only go there to sacrifice yourself. And you only gonna sacrifice yourself if you're gonna give a greater value for your sacrifice than you could ever receive as an individual. Because self-sacrifice is the highest form of sacrifice.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go put myself on the line, and when I get done, hopefully everybody will be the better for it. Right? After
And that's
your
what you talk about the
training,
shepherd.
yeah. After your training, you gotta do your public works. Your public works is showing the public what your worth is. And it's up to them to choose to say he all right or he ain't. The hard part is everybody ain't supposed to be right all the time. And everybody not supposed to agree with everybody all the time. And sometimes the truth is somewhere between the two perceptions that y'all both looking at it. Right? So somebody might pull up some receipts and think they're contradicting what I'm saying.
Right.
Right? And all they doing is verifying exactly what I see.
Right. That's how it happens. That's
So
how it be.
they'll tell me I'm wrong because they got the receipt. They show me that I'm wrong, but its receipt say exactly what was the point I was making the whole time. You see, so we ain't supposed to be so quick to take a side. We supposed to be quick to check the receipt. Everybody ain't supposed to be right all the time. So if you put out information like when we was looking at the Statue of Liberty picture, and I told you it's an old picture.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had put in the comments, this happened in 2000 and something, and this 2025, and I was like, yeah, but that's a retrograde.
Mm.
It's an energy cycle return. And the more of them you can recognize, the more of the stuff you can see just taking place on the world stage, because it's all a stage and we just actors,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you catch the cycles, you learn that from the study of the Emerald Tablets.
Mm-hmm.
Because the root in the Emerald Tablets say all the cycles within cycles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the only way out this is to break the cycle. You can
Mm-hmm.
only break the cycle at a certain part of the cycle, right? The problem is most people get trapped in the cycle and they keep repeating the same cycle. So you can't never get from wash cycle to rinse cycle because you keep going back to the wash cycle.
And that's exactly why
Right.
motherfuckers be trapped in time.
Yeah.
You keep going through the same artificial time analysis mechanism. You stuck in a time loop of trauma. And, that's what I call, the sleep spell of Kingu. That is the subjugation of the subconscious mind. You're teleconnected to the moon by way of your emotions, which basically, keeps you in a state of, of an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When
And
you're talking
also,
about the demiurge.
when you want to know what it feel like to be under Kingu, when you try to study and you try to read and you keep falling asleep,
Mm-hmm.
that's the number one symptom of the Kingu spell.
Mm.
You can't study because it becomes hypnotic to you and you pass out,
Mm.
right? The Amen spell does only affect religious people.
Right.
You got people that's in the religion that sing better than anybody we ever heard that's not in the religion. But they will never be known to the world because they keep amening themselves, restricting their light from shining in the world.
Hidden light, hidden force. Yep. Hiding yourself. Well, you know what I'm saying? I keep telling people, man, these words, you know what I'm saying, they have a metaphysical energy to them.
That's what
Just
this little
like,
light of man is about.
are you talking about the Christian, this
This
little
little
light
light
of,
of
okay, yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna let it
Uh,
shine. It's talking about your inner light. It
mm,
comes from that biblical verse, put not your candles under the basket,
mm-hmm,
right? Because you can't benefit from the light. That's where they get it from. This little light of man is this candle light. One
mm-hmm,
candle can light 1,000 candles and still be lit,
mm, mm.
right? But if you don't want to light nobody else's candle, when you burn out, you on your own,
That's a fact.
right?
That's a
All
fact.
those other burning candles contribute wax to you be rebuilding yourself.
Shit, we almost at the hour mark. I'm gonna try to get some people some questions. Um, this guy he sent this. I've been seeing the like that bear. Remember that bear I've been showing you? They've been showing a lot of color symbolism, and I did some a metaphysical codex myself. When you talking about the Vanguard and the VSS trading market that's connected to it, because all this is really associated because they show you I think the year is associated with the symbolism is 2019, but that's according to the Ethiopian calendar. So it's really the timeline of what they talking about as far as like the fall of the economic system and the rise of Nassar Jassara is actually talking about the timeline of 2026. So what you think about this right here? The Japan reverse carry trade, Venezuela oil, Ripple, 58922 master building number, ends maritime law. So this is really just showing this kind of connected to the bearable financial system situation.
And you know what that's about.
What?
They released some papers to Donald Trump, right?
Uh-huh.
And in the papers, it's telling them everybody that was signing off on them trafficking drugs into America.
Mm.
So He shut Venezuela down, which also shut their money down. The money pipeline to certain political elites has been cut off. No air traffic to Venezuela. I mean, them duffel bags full of money that they used to see, and they can't send them now. They're gonna get shot down. Right now, the president of Venezuela gave him the documents he wanted from to begin with. Had nothing to do with them. They knew they was bringing drugs over here, and they knew that DEA agents was and CIA agents was the primary connectors for the pipeline. They was the ones who was building the pipeline, the DEA and the CIA and the Black Ops programs. So when Venezuela get caught up in it, it's because they already know everybody that's involved with Nicaragua from the Manuel Noriega trial. They already know from Escobar all about Colombia. Venezuela was the safe zone. It was the safe zone for high elite political figures to go down there and make these deals with the power elite that's not government officials in Venezuela. And they was doing it in Mexico too. You know, El Chapo escaped.
That's a fact. I'm putting
Now,
another question.
so once he gave them the paperwork, now they have to declare fentanyl a drug, a weapon of mass destruction.
Yep, they sure did. They
The
Donald Trump.
reason they did that is because the people that's been over here financing the drug trade can get the death penalty now. They can kill them off with their MF and head. Blue Beam already happened. Y'all just didn't see it when it happened.
What you mean?
Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but I did a video a couple years back about the elites the elders, Scott's family wanted to speak to Larry Hoover, and so they shot a blue beam from the White House. When they shot the blue beam from the White House, Biden opened up the borders for the alien invasion of illegal immigrants.
I remember Sleeper. So that was the beginning points. Sleeper.
That was a misdirection. They got you looking at the alien invasion that's coming from the stars as a false flag event. But the alien invasion that they was warning you about was how they was going to smuggle in their sleeper cells using a mass immigration into the country to do it. Right? When you see them after the Somalians, remember Mogadishu and Black Hawk Down. Right? The reason why they killed Muhammad Fuad Hadid, he was a messianic figure in Ethiopia. They gonna come and get their revenge if it's at all possible. They got strategists too. We ain't the only ones in the world with strategists.
Right.
You know, I'm serious. They got Somali communities all over the world because of the people that was involved. The United Nations was involved, but it was mostly, more than anybody else, it was the British, the French, and the United States that was the number one antagonist to what was going on in Somalia. The Somalians been at civil war for 2,000 years. They're not worried about no war.
Right.
They come on with it. But what the problem was is Muhammad Fuad Hadid was starting to unite the what they call the warlords, right? And if you can unite feudal warlords, you consolidating power. And when he started consolidating power, then he can get control of the Somalian oil reserves. Then he got a seat at the Aramco and the OPEC table now. Whether they want him there or not, he there now. They can't have that because he's one for the people. If he wasn't one for the people, he could never unite warring factions.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that's ever going to be successful in uniting the warring factions is the ones who for the people, especially when they've been warring for 2,000 years.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you've been warring, your tribe and my tribe been fighting this long, and we realize, hey, wait a minute, these outsiders got us fighting each other. This is what's going on in the hood right now. You
Fact.
seeing you seeing West Coast content creators trying to figure out how to squash the unnecessary deaths of the soldiers in the street because we gonna need them. You see the
Right.
same thing going on in the Midwest. You see it going on down south.
Yep.
The ones
I
that's a
forgot.
little younger than us, probably your age, in your age bracket, probably 15 years younger than you, y'all are going to talk to the youth for like, hey man, look, we not finna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they listening to y'all because I'm old and gray. They don't want to hear what no old mofo got to say.
Mm.
Right? So I gotta say the stuff that catch your ear in your age bracket because I need y'all to get the message to deliver to the youth.
That's a
And
fact.
it's a trickle down effect. All of the ones that preceded me, they wasn't all right. Right? And they wasn't all wrong. I take the best of what all of them gave us and then I feed it down so that y'all can use it better.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all can see further. Remember, a midget can see further than a giant when you're standing on the giant's shoulder,
Facts.
right? So we got giant shoulders we standing on. We can have as many midgets as we want. Everybody can
Mm.
get a piece. Look at the pygmies hunter elephant. They got the videos on YouTube. You pull up pygmies, they be all up inside the elephant. We all gonna eat. They make sure everybody eat when they bring that elephant down.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So they all got a role to play in breaking the elephant into the parts in order to make sure they can maximize the food supply. And you see him, you see one old man crawl all up inside the elephant. Then he come pop out the ribs. He be in
Yep.
the inside, cutting it every which way but loose.
Facts. Gutted him
You
out.
know? Yeah. So
So
everybody in the tribe can take a piece as long as we can help somebody else eat.
that's all.
That's why we don't do this for the money. We do it for the people because if you do it for the people, they gonna make you take some money whether you want it or not.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, I used to, man. I had an auntie or a granny who used to do stuff like that. Boy, you don't take his damn money. And like, I don't want nothing. I just want to come over here and just get a nice little plate and go play outside. But then, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But that's what, the law of reciprocity. The universe gonna bless you every time if you tapped into the right energy, if you're doing the work.
Yeah, and look, if you stay away from Granny house too long, she be called Mama. Tell Big Dale come over here. I got a little package for him.
Word. Yep.
Oh,
They gonna
Grandma,
find a
come
way
up.
to
You ain't gotta give me nothing, but you don't come on over here and get this package and eat these collard greens I'm cooking. You cooking collard
fact,
greens?
facts. Facts. Yep. Yeah, I
Oh
that's
man,
one of my
they learn
things.
how to switch the pork out with the turkey now. Oh, it's on the cook.
Facts. Yeah, that's the theme now. We can get us some more questions in here in the chat too, by the way. And put the rice bowls, put the gorillas in the chat because like I said, man, we going back to the law of the land and Big Mama coming to get her shit back. Facts. So okay, we got so what sustains archons energetically, hierarchically as worship is the ritual devotion, emotional output, fear, obedience, shame, systematic participation in their order. I can answer some of this too. Well, I would say it's also energetic because the most intrinsic resource within the factions of the simulation is actually human data, and human data in itself is basically connected to the gematria body, and the gematria body is what keeps you connected to the simulation. As me and Rod talk about being stuck in a fixed position reality by way of the trauma, and the trauma in itself is what creates these mechanisms of fear because as I tell people all the time, everything that you want in life is on the other side of fear, so you have to face your fear, which is the self-realization portal. It's kind of like the same process when you watch the movie It. You got to face your fear in order to, be in a state of evolution. So the archons, in order to supplicate your emotions and they transmute it in the form of a weakness, they got to create all these mechanisms that is also connected to the corporation, because everything that's connected to the three-dimensional apparatus is actually a form of genetic self-preservation. So they have to extract your vitality in order to have some type of sustainability in this world. So this is why the great majority of Canaanite culture, they have to give sacrifices to their Moloch, Enlil, Baal, whatever you want to call it, archonic forces. They got to give these sacrifices because that's how the Canaanite, they're able to have some type of sustainability. But like I said, we basically demonstrated that they lost their power because it's the end of admiralty law. We're going back to common law, which is the law of the land. So what you think about archons, Rod?
So number one thing that we emit is when we in a state of fear is loosh.
Mm-hmm.
The loosh energy is harvested in different ways. Now you also have what's called a euphoric loosh. That's when you're in a cheerful and jovial mood, but you release energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the sites of worship, as long as they got something for you to fear, like hell, they can give you an emotional roller coaster through a sermon. Bring up hell, and you release all of it as a fear loosh.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the marker, the die marker is called currency.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In order to see the current, you got to put a die marker in it, and we call it currency to allow us to see the current. You watch the flow of the loosh in the church by the offering plate.
Mm.
Okay, now let's take the religion out of it because people think the only place that's harvesting us is the religion. Let's say we all go to a football game. In the football game, we love football. We love to see our favorite player running the ball, passing the ball, making the tackle. We like the whole structure of the game. We just into it. It creates what's called a jovial loosh energy. Now, how is this energy harvested and where do we see it? You see it at the box office as ticket sales. But then you see it as advertiser response to the point of origin of where they are soliciting their loosh.
Mm.
When they catch you in that state and they feed you their advertisement and you respond, you purchase their product. When you purchase their product and you surrender the die marker, the fiat, the currency, it lets them know that they are putting their dollars in the right place to get a residual return. So they feed off us through the advertisements is the leech itself. In the blood they suck, we freely surrender in the form of soliciting an ad. That's what they call it. When you see an ad and you buy something, it's called soliciting an ad. So when you solicit the ad and buy the product, then you saying, okay, I liked how I felt when your advertisement told me yada 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 buy Nike. So here, I want these overpriced Nikes. Cost you $3.85 to make. I'm gonna pay you $269 a pair.
Facts. And that's another thing when it comes to that. You have to be energetically balanced, which is the God frequency, because it's one of those things where you don't want to be too happy, you don't want to be too sad, because you're too happy, a demon or archon can feed off your energy. You're too sad. It's one of those things where you got to be energetically balanced to where you don't, where you're not energetically compromised by outside forces. That's
Right.
because,
So that's why we tell people they need to learn psychic self defense.
yeah.
Psychic self defense is the toolbox to learn how to. When I first came home, I wasn't using it. I go to a tractor pool. I left that tractor pool. It felt like I had been working in the sun for 4 straight weeks with no sleep. I was whooped. Right. Then I went back to a basketball game, same thing happened. I said, what the hell why do every time I go to these big crowds, this happen? So then I was sitting there and I was like, I didn't do no protections before I went. So my
Mm-hmm.
energy, they was just all living off my energy for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the next event I went to, do my little focus, build my little auric field.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't have that issue. I was like, oh, that's some real shit. I thought that shit was fantasy. A lot of the stuff I be teaching people, I didn't believe that shit was real at first until I tried it and it worked.
Mm.
So then when it
Yeah,
worked, I said, I'm gonna teach this.
yeah, that's kind of like what I think Sharif El Bey, shout out to him, and Brother Rich, they was talking about radionics on how you're able to change up the frequencies, just by way of crystallization and that's connected to your consciousness. You can change the molecular structure of anything that's in the three-dimensional apparatus, basically anything that has a spirit, because that also goes into the fact that with the food, because everything as far as like food, when you're talking about genetically modified foods, the archons, they are the ones who gave the Canaanite culture the edification to create these genetically modified foods, because nowadays you eat a motherfucking Big Mac, you know what I'm saying, your energy bar gonna drop all the way down the red, you're gonna be laid out just off a cheeseburger. Because like I said, everything is compromised. It's the energy extraction. So that's why I said, man, like everything is compromised. So you gotta look just like me and Rob. We did this one video. We was talking about the blood contracts on how everything is an energy extraction, eugenics programs. You know what I'm saying? To the point, like I said, they supplicate your emotions and they transmute it in the form of a weakness. So when you stuck in time, that means you got to make money. You got to make shit work. If you ain't got enough money, now you got to go line up at the blood bank, the plasma center. Now you traded in your vitality for money. So that's why I said it's another way to keep your emotions supplicated to the point where you're not able to level up. So that's why I talk about, being energetically balanced. You know what I'm saying? Balance is what is going to get you to the self-realization portal.
That's what's gonna make your relationships more functional too and beneficial to both parties. The more balanced you is, people come around you, even if they don't say nothing, they start to feel they alignment, they finding their balance. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what the world in dervish is all about. Finding
Mm-hmm.
your balance, find your center. The ballet, gymnastics. If you can't find your center, you're gonna be a flop,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
So the once you find your center, you can spin for hours without being dizzy
Mm-hmm.
because you found your center.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can't do that.
That's a fact. I'm gonna get to another question. We're gonna get to a few more questions, and then we're gonna let the elder and hit up the elders his cash app. You know what I'm saying? He been demonstrating his knowledge, you know what I'm saying, for the last 5 years, on wax, and he's been, showing everybody. And an imbecile is a person who has a low IQ. So, like I said, you have a faction of people, a bloodline that controls the great majority of
Move the date of the celebration. That's all. That's all buying time.
Mm.
But there ain't no more time to be bought now.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying, "What's taking so long?" They think it's not happening, but I hear you say it actually is happening. It's over.
Mhm. Well, in 2017, Executive Order Donald J. closed the Federal Reserve and stopped them from printing currency.
Okay.
So that means that all of the currency that was in circulation, they couldn't destroy the old currency.
Mm.
They didn't want them to destroy the old currency because they couldn't catch the counterfeiters if they destroyed all of the old currency. The counterfeiting is going to come. The counterfeit money is going to be given to us by a foreign country on pallets, right? And when they bring it over here, they're supposed to go through an identification process, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got to keep a certain amount of it as evidence. So if they get 20 pallets of artificial money, fiat, counterfeit, they might save a whole pallet of it for evidence,
Oh.
right? And then once they find out what country it's coming from, then they finna get Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, and every other kind of special operations from the Secret Service and CIA. They gonna flood that country until they find where that counterfeiter at.
Okay.
Now they did it in Colombia, I think it was, back in the 80s. They caught them because they was counterfeiting like $1 billion a year. You know, so everything is winding down now. So they just stopped the printing of the penny.
Yeah.
That don't seem like that mean nothing to most people. But when the last penny was struck in Philadelphia, that's where the first established government of the United States corporation's original capital was. They don't move it for a couple years later to DC. Right?
Yeah.
Well, they got to reverse engineer everything you've seen coming in. You got to see it coming out.
Okay. So what is the significance of them removing the penny?
The penny is the financial significance of the original copper colored people. That's why it's copper.
Okay.
The reason they use Abraham Lincoln on there is because the real Abraham Lincoln was original copper color, but they whitewashed him. Right. So the penny in the ending of their system is also a recognition of us by stopping the penny from being printed. Because now what was once copper comes back now as a denomination of gold or silver.
You know that the United States just added copper as one of its imported minerals.
Yeah. I remember they used to use copper in the pipes in all of the houses.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Now they use plastic PVC. You know what CBDs are?
Central bank digital currencies?
PCBs, I mean. Not.
Okay. No, I don't know what
Those are carcinogens, cancer-causing agents.
Oh my God.
And that's what's in the piping that they're giving us now. The PVC pipe, the gas, is loaded with PCBs.
The copper, and you know, copper, I remember a time when doctors used to give people who had joint pain copper bracelets and copper knee pads. Tell them to wear copper on their bodies to stop joint pain.
Some of the people in the South still remember drinking out of copper cups.
Yeah.
And they say that the water tasted better and it stayed colder longer. But everybody thought it was an old wives' tale.
It just seems like everything, a lot of things that's happening is about the copper colored people. And people ask me why I keep bringing that up. And it's just because I see it in my face. I see the symbology, I just like we were talking about the Colombian president, the Mexican president, other presidents saying, hey, the Black people are the indigenous peoples all over the world of the Americas, and they are the oldest indigenous people on the planet. There is a reason for them saying that. There's a reason copper is going up in value right now.
Which is another reason to take the penny out of circulation, because a penny worth of copper wouldn't be enough to make a penny.
Okay.
Let that sink in. If the value of copper go up, a penny worth of copper wouldn't be enough to make a penny.
I see.
It would have to be stretched too thin.
People are saying copper has healing properties.
Yes. Yeah, remember, we used to be magnesium copper based. We iron copper based now. The copper never changed.
Okay.
They just switched the iron, switched with the magnesium to make us brown instead of shades of blue and green. So when you see the paintings of Krishna is blue and Osiris is green, that's when we was magnesium based.
In that movie Wicked, the character is green. I thought that was very interesting. I was like, they're trying to tell us something. So that was is that how we originally looked?
Well, our color, our pigment, because the brown in our skin, the melanin is reacting with the rusting or the oxidization of the iron.
Hmm.
If it was to react to the magnesium oxidization in copper, they oxidize in shades of green, right? And the denser the melanin is, the green will become so dark till it turns blue.
Okay.
You know, so it's the synthesis of the metals in the body that changed our skin pigment.
Mm. I want to switch the conversation just a little bit. Can you address why President Trump is going against the immigrants and migrants? Right now, he's targeting the Somalians. Can you address why he's, going so hard after the immigrants and the migrants, and why specifically the Somalians? Who are they?
So the Somalians that came over here is part of a Muslim Brotherhood that got in their charter or in a mission statement. Their goal is to destroy this country and all of the people in it.
What?
And they found connections with that lady. Well, I forgot her name, but she's from Wisconsin in that Somali group. And they said that she was connected to them, to that organization, and that all of the people that came over, they saturated that area with Somalian so-called refugees. That's a retaliation for Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu. That's where it comes from. They killed Muhammad Fahd Adib. That's like if Russia came over here right now and they killed the mayor of or the governor of a state and then just went back home. Well, it just ain't gonna just go like that.
Ilhan Omar. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's her name. Okay. So they say she connected. I didn't do no background on her, so I don't know who she connected to. But I've seen a couple of different people presenting the paperwork showing her connection to that Somali organization. But it's all get back. And now, if we ain't the ones responsible for the dirt that this government did, then anybody that's going to cause us harm when they tear this government down, they got to be gone.
Okay.
A lot of the so-called migrants was brought over here to pad voting rolls. It had nothing to do with refugees and political crisis anywhere in the world. Mexico doesn't have to be in poverty. They don't need to sell drugs.
Okay.
If the people reap the rewards of the mineral wealth of the country of Mexico, everybody will be rich.
They have a lot of silver there in Mexico.
They got oil, just like Saudi Arabia, but they're not allowed to tap it because of the Spanish-American Treaty.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that they have, but the Spanish-American War, the Mexico-American War, when we annexed Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, and Texas, they treaty or they peace agreement prevents them from generating national wealth and taking care of their people properly. And they're not in third world country because they a third world country. They're in a third world country because they're economically strangled.
Well, some people would say then they should be able to be here if they're struggling in their countries and we have so many resources. Why can't they be here?
We don't have a problem with them being here because here is there. It's the same country.
Okay.
The same land. Before, look, all of them people they calling them illegals coming from Mexico to California and Arizona, that was Mexico first. So you saying I can't go from one part of my house to the other part of my house? Well, I don't understand that. Right? But the issue is not, the reason that they bringing them over here has nothing to do with their suffering.
Okay.
It has everything to do with controlling the outcome of elections. Votes ain't what we think they is. Right? Nobody that you voting for, your vote gonna actually put them people in power. It's not gonna happen. All of the elections are rigged. Been rigged from the beginning.
Mm.
The biggest trick they ever played on us was to get us to demand something called voter rights. We're not stakeholders in the corporation. Our vote don't count. How do we know this? Because the stakeholders vote after we do. They call them the electoral college.
Mm-hmm.
So they let us say what we gonna say, and then they laugh at us, and then they do what they was gonna do anyway.
Crazy.
Because as long as we feel included in a decision-making process, we won't overthrow their regime.
Mm.
So it's all an illusion to make you believe you part of this system. And the system is on your back. It's not a system that opened doors for you. It's a system that's on your shoulders. You don't know that the system is on top of you because they got you believing that you're a participant. You're not a participant. Since 1776, everybody that's calling themselves American has been a victim.
Mm.
I don't care what you look like. Because when the law was laid out, like for instance, the Emancipation Proclamation was supposed to free the slaves, which were 13th and 14th Amendment. No,
Yeah.
it changed the conditions by which slavery could be administered. It didn't get rid of it.
Mm.
Think about it, right? If you first, you ain't supposed to have a person held for involuntary servitude or slavery, but then the 14th Amendment is say, unless duly convicted of a felony. Right? Where do they derive their felonies from? They're not coming from the law of the land. Because if they was, then no drug dealer would be in prison. Because the government brought all the dope here.
Sure did, yes.
Right? So why are they bringing all the dope here and then punishing us for making a living off the dope they brought?
Mm.
It was all a trap to begin with. The rats don't put the cheese in the trap, but he always get caught in it. We didn't bring the dope over here, but we always got caught in it.
Yeah.
And very few of us understood what happened with Iran-Contra,
Okay.
in that this is not a new government thing. You go all the way back to the Opium Wars. Britain was the king of drug dealers.
Mm.
They did it in the Opium Wars. They flooded China with cheap discount opium and opened up opium dens everywhere. So what did Mao Zedong do when he got in there? Anybody that get caught smoking opium, you dead.
Mm.
Nothing to negotiate. Ain't non-negotiable. If you're smoking opium, you are a pariah to the system. You die.
Mm.
Everybody's like, how you just gonna kill all of the people? They was like wet rags laying around opium dens, and they couldn't even get up and go nowhere. They already dead.
Mm.
They just ain't literally dead. But for all intents and purposes, they contribute contributions to life. They taking up oxygen for people that could actually be using it to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Right? So you give a person enough dead weight, you're going to wear them down eventually.
Yeah. While you take a pause for a minute, I just want to tell everybody that's in the chat, thank you so much for keeping the conversation going. I see your questions. We're going to give you some time to ask the chief the questions. But thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing information with each other. I see 1,533 people in the chat. Hit the like button, please. That will help the algorithms. And please support our chief. Chief Rod Hayes has been giving out information for probably about a decade that I know of, and he's not paid for this. So I ask that you show him and me and his soul tribe how much we appreciate him for his hard work. You can either send him a blessing by two methods. You can send him a blessing via Cash App. Let's see. Cash App is $SIK8. That's Cash App, capital SIK, capital APE, or you can send him a donation to his PayPal, which is at SIK801, SIKAPE01. What does SIK8 mean before you go on?
Soldiers in Illuminati are present everywhere.
Okay.
It's an acronym. So it was the communication between me and somebody who came up with something called the Don Illuminati theory. So tribal communication.
Okay. Okay. And I'm going to take this off the screen, family, but if you look at the ticker below, you will see different methods that you can support the Chief Rod Hayes for always coming on here. And he spends hours of his time. He got a lot of knowledge already in his head, but he studies as well, and he disseminates information on his social media platforms, doesn't ask for a penny, never has. Then he comes on different shows and he gives all this information and never asks for anything. So again, I ask, if you appreciate the information that he's sharing, please support him by sending him some ends, okay, some duckies, as we used to say, to oops, that's the wrong one, to $SIK, capital SIK,